Well, g'day and welcome to the channel. Today I'm out in the Warby National Park and I'm looking for a specific photo. Around this time every year we have grass trees in Australia, and some of the older grass trees have these flower stems that come into flower, and birds are attracted to the nectar that's given off. But only a few of them will have the flowers, and only a few of them will be flowering at this time of the year. So I'm hoping to find one that's got flower that will attract the birds, and then I'm going to set up and hopefully get some photos. That's the goal. And I've driven around, I've found a grass tree. So it's just over here to my left, and I'll show you now. So this grass tree is currently in flower, as you can see. It's producing nectar. So I've sat in my car for a little while and I've waited, and sure enough I've seen a little honeyeater actually come in and land on this grass tree. So I'm pretty sure that if I head over there I should be able to get a shot. What I might do first is just do a bit of a scout, have a walk around, see what sort of backgrounds I'm going to get, and I'll just take my R5 and my 100-500 and I'll just hand hold. Alright, so I've got my 100-500 and my R5, and I'm going to walk over to this grass tree. Alright, so the grass tree's over here. I've actually got a monitor on the top of my camera so I can show you what I'm seeing through the viewfinder, and let's just have a look at what the background looks like, what the grass tree looks like, and the sort of shot that I'm trying to get. So when I'm here, I'm looking at the grass tree, and there's a lot of trees obviously behind it. So it's a matter of trying to find a background that doesn't have anything that's too dark. So if I have a look at the moment, there's the grass tree. If we zoom in to 500 millimeters, apologies about the shaking, we can see that we've got those dark trees in the background, and we're probably a little touch too far away. So I'm just going to walk my way over there, get a little bit closer, and then let's have a look and see what it looks like. So a background, quite a few trees still, so that's no good. Walk around this way a bit. So I'm just walking around trying to get away from the dark trees. Let's have a look what this looks like. Alright, that's a bit better. Still got some darkness going on, but it might be the best we're going to get. Alright, so that's our grass tree, and you can sort of see the backgrounds as we zoom in. So if the bird lands there, we're golden. So that's the position that I'm going to be in. So again, like my previous video, it's just a waiting game. It's just a matter of being patient and waiting for the bird to come back. Bird's at the top of the grass. What's it? Okay, that was very quick, but the birds landed on the top of the grass tree, and then it sort of moved its way down feeding, and we've got a couple of shots, and then it's kind of come down and it's just hovered as it's feeding, and I've just rattled off a heap of shots. And fingers crossed we got a shot of it mid-flight. That would be amazing. That's the sort of shot I'm after. So the bird's gone. It didn't stay very long, so I was hoping that it would stay longer, but I think we still got the shots. You know, we've got the shots of it feeding on the grass tree, and we got a shot of it as it was flying with its wings. Oh, it's amazing. It's just there hovering, isn't it? It's really interesting. They seem to do this hovering thing nearly every time. Oh, well, that's very cool. Exactly as I hoped happened. All right, so what I'm going to do is when the bird comes back, because we've got a zoom, I'm going to actually try and take some shots actually wide. So traditionally with my big lens, all I can shoot is sort of 700 millimeters, so I don't get a lot of wide shots, and part of me has been wanting to get wide shots just for something different, I guess, instead of just the completely out of focus background and the bird on a stick. You know, I want to try and challenge myself to get some different types of shots, some more wider stuff. So what I'm going to do is next time the bird comes back, I'm actually going to shoot a lot wider, and I just want to see what sort of shots we can get wide and see what they look like. So that's the key. So fingers crossed we just got to get the bird to come back. All right, so typically the birds come while the camera was off. So let me just talk you through what happened. So the birds landed on the flower, and I've put the camera up, and because I can just adjust the focal length with the zoom, I've just started quite wide. So 100 millimeters is the widest this lens goes. So we've started quite wide, and as the birds landed, we've taken some shots. It was sort of at the bottom, towards the bottom of the flower, and it was giving us a few side poses, which we got, and then it did the hovering thing again. And I've managed to take some shots as it's hovering sort of quite wide, and this is the shot. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like this wider habitat type shot, or did you prefer the up close shot. I think they both have merit, and it's nice to have that. You know, the power of the zoom is I can shoot at 500, or I can shoot at sort of 100 to 200s and just get different types of photos, and I just can't get that with the prime. So you know, it's a real advantage of having these zooms, is just the different compositions that you can create out in the field. All right, just to give you some context of how big this flower spike is, the actual grass tree starts here. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the trunk, and it goes over, and then it's up, and then the flower goes up. So this is a very old grass tree that's growing here, and the flower is very high, but it's got sweet nectar that's coming out of it, and the birds absolutely love it. So the honeyeaters are landing in the tree up there, and then jumping on here and feeding on it, and obviously I'm standing over there getting some shots. So yeah, fantastic opportunity, and I'm glad that I found this grass tree. Happy that I got a few shots. So absolutely beautiful. So this is what it looks like in the bush. You often have all these grass trees, and you can see them, and a lot of them don't even have the spikes on them, but some of them get really big. This isn't the biggest I've seen, but this one's pretty big, and I dare say this would be a very old tree. They take a long time to grow, so to see one this big is a real highlight. That's very cool. All right, so I'm back for day 2, and this time I'm trying a different strategy. I'm actually going to use my 500mm lens, my tripod, and this bag hide to see if we can get any other birds on this grass stem. So fingers crossed we have a bit of luck today, but we'll get set up and we'll start shooting. All right, so the grass stem's here. I'm actually shooting in a different direction today because the sun's actually over here. I'm here in the morning. So just in case the sun comes out, I need to make sure that the sun's behind me, pointing at this grass stem. And I don't want to be too close because I don't want to scare any potential bird. So we'll probably set up here. I'm just thinking about my background. Background's probably pretty good here. So let's set up this camera. So I'm just using a very old Benro carbon fiber tripod. I've had this for about 10 years. There's a link in the description, but I've had no issue with it. The legs are a little bit you know, a little bit tight from there, but that's all right. And I'm using a pretty old Enduro gimbal to take the weight of my big 500. So let's whack the 500 on there. Got to make sure the gimbal's tightened, otherwise the lens will just fall over. All right. Because I'm shooting with my R5, I do actually need an adapter. So I've got the adapter that just goes onto the old EF lens, like so. And then I've got my R5, which will just go on. So yep, today I'm using R5 1.4 extender 500mm lens. Gives me 700mm, which should make the bird quite big in the frame. I'll just quickly check to make sure I'm not too close and just think about my background. What I'm hoping to get is actually quite a lot of detail today, and if I can get a bird flying with this lens, would be top. So I'll come back a little bit more. All right, so that's the sort of framing that we've got. Hopefully that should be more than enough. Okay, so today I'm actually using this throw blind, and you might have seen it in my previous videos. I'll leave a link below, but it's pretty handy. You just throw it over the lens like so, and I just it's got some Velcro at the front. I'll show you the Velcro. All right, so it's just got Velcro that we just sort of put around the hood of the lens like so, and then we just Velcro it together coming down the front. So a pretty effective blind once it's set up. We should be able to hide in there pretty well. Let's get set up and let's hope some birds turn up. All right, now we just sit and wait and hopefully a bird turns up. So this is the framing that we have with the 700mm. You can see from the base of the tree we have a lovely background, and it's nice all the way until we start getting to the top. And then the sky causes those bright spots, which are just unpleasant. So I won't really be able to get any shots if the bird lands high on this flower. For some reason the audio didn't work when I recorded this session, so let me talk you through what happened. The first bird that turned up started feeding at the top of the flower, but the background didn't work for me and it was gone very quickly, meaning I didn't get any shots at all. The second visit, the bird started at the top again and it started hovering, and we got a few shots. However, as you can see in the raw file, the background is a little bit distracting and the bird is slightly out of focus. So the next few visits the bird continued feeding at the top again, and when it did come low enough it was on the other side of the flower, meaning no shots again. But finally a bird arrived on the flower and started hovering in a nice spot. And as you can see, the eye autofocus has picked up the bird as it was hovering, capturing a number of shots. I was able to freeze the action with a high shutter speed of 1/2000th of a second. And you can see here the benefit of the 20 frames per second of the R5. As we go through the photos captured, we had a number of different poses for me to choose from. I ended up choosing this shot as I like the wing pose, I like the eye contact and the active feeding. Overall, I'm happy with the shot. The only improvement could be a slightly more uniform background, as that sort of light blue at the top left-hand corner is a slightly distracting, but that's only very minor. But thankfully it didn't take long, as the bird then dropped slightly lower, still hovering, and it gave me a much better background. I managed this burst of shots and ended up with this one, which I think is my pick of the day. I really like the eye contact, I like the wings up, the background's nice uniform colour. Overall, I just really like this shot. Let me know which one you prefer. So the light was starting to get pretty difficult at this point, and I was ready to call it when two birds actually landed on the flower at the same time. I tried to get both birds in the frame, but I was just too close with my 700mm, and that's one of the drawbacks with the prime. So I decided to take some shots of each bird separately, knowing I could probably stitch these in post. And here's the shot using two exposures and merged using Lightroom's photo merge feature. I'm very happy with how this turned out, with both birds actively feeding on the flower at the same time. Well, that was amazing. The bird turned up and it did exactly what we wanted. I've been standing here for hours. The birds come once an hour, it's one species, and I'd almost given up hope of capturing the exact shot that I wanted. I got some good shots with the 100-500, don't get me wrong, and I was over the moon with those. However, I just wanted really good detail, and that's sort of why I got the 500 today, because I wanted to get close and I just wanted to capture that moment in time when the bird's flying and it's feeding on this grass tree. That's the shot I envisaged, that's the shot I wanted, and that's the shot I was thinking about as I was under the blind, just watching it, waiting for the bird to turn up. I think what my time has shown me spending time with this grass tree is that if you have a plan, if you have an idea of what you're going to get and you put in the time, you can often get those rewards that you're after. So I used the 100-500 for a couple of days and this 500 for a couple of days, and they've both got their advantages and disadvantages. The 100-500 is just amazing that you've got the zoom. You know, I got a couple of wide shots that I was really happy with, which I never would have got with this lens, and I also was able just to walk around quite easily and adjust based on the backgrounds and things like that. So it was just a lot easier to walk around and shoot with that, and we got some nice results and I was happy with that. However, I think the 500 just gets us that extra image quality. The bird's bigger, background's more out of focus. Overall, the photos just look that little bit better. And look, I'm very grateful that I've got the opportunity to use both lenses, but I think long term, you know, a prime and a zoom is the way to go, and definitely helped me out in my session here at this grass tree. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun here in the bush capturing this Fuscous Honeyeater. If you like the video, obviously give it that thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more of these videos, and thanks again to all my wonderful members that support the channel. Until the next video, take care and see you later.